we are now going to start with our first panel discussion for the day. The first panel is truly interesting as it's going to be delving thoughts on power of TV in building brands and successful Indian businesses. May I request our session chair, Amrita, to kindly start the dialogue here on stage. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for this amazing opportunity, Exchange for Media. And I'm super excited to moderate this session with an eminent set of panelists who have just been introduced. I would like to start with this very personal experience. And it is not as a media professional, but as a consumer. Very recent one. As my surname suggests, Kerala is my home state. And you must have heard of a Malayali's extreme love for football. And I'm no different. Yeah, so for the recently concluded FIFA World Cup, my family, which is a pretty large one, we decided to convene in Kerala at home to watch the finals, Argentina versus France. So right from the time my growing up days, we always used to take sides. And while personally I used to take the winning side, but my family was quite crazy and whose sides were they on? I live in Mumbai, so I also decided to travel with my family, back home to join everybody at home. 8:30 was the match time. 6:30 in the evening onwards, the TV was on. And, the banter had already started. We were doing our own predictions, who will win, which player is going to do what, and all of that. Look, that euphoria is something very, very different. We felt we were in Qatar, but we were at home, a small town in Kerala, and we had a lot of fun. And end of all of that, a week or 10 days later, I'm the only media professional, somebody is working in media in my family. I was the only one interested in the ratings. 10 days hence, when the ratings came, I wasn't surprised at all. And I'm proud to say that a channel that was relatively very, very new, not even distributed well in the state, got a whopping rating of 21 TVR. And to put things into perspective for all of you, some of you must be familiar with the ratings in Kerala. Some of you may not be familiar with the ratings in Kerala. This was the highest rated event in the entire calendar year of 2022. That is the power of collective audiences. That's the power of television. Yeah, so on that note, let me begin this panel discussion with my first question. Jayesh, I would like to start with you. Television is known for its massive audience base. In India, it reaches out to about 900 million people. Advertisers utilize it to build scale rapidly for their brands across the board. How substantial is the big screen effect in ensuring this for a large advertiser with multiple brands like ITC?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. See, if you look at the way most of the brands or mass brands have their journey on media, they normally go with a media mix, which is a mix of television, print, out of home. And the objective is to generate high awareness. And once the certain level of awareness is achieved, the focus shifts in terms of getting your message recall done at a regular basis. Television definitely plays a most efficient medium role out there in terms of getting the recall done at the most cost efficient way. However, if you currently look at the way consumption of television is happening and how the youth have actually moved out of television or linear television, if I would put in, the shift actually ends up a bit differently, because while they're consuming streaming content, they're still consuming it on the big screen. And if you look at the way most of the brands have generated impact, it's been at the back of the big screens. whether it's linear TV or streaming TV, it ends up being a big screen effectively. India, while you mentioned about 900 million viewers, in terms of households, it's predominantly a single screen household, a single TV household with multiple screens on handles and everything right now. But yeah, when it comes to watching live events, sports, or even current affairs or things, a lot of people who end up actually watching it on television rather than consuming it on their handheld devices. Uh, See, as advertisers, we effectively chase eyeballs. So whether it is coming in from a linear TV or streaming TV, our objective is to ensure that we reach out to our consumers and deliver the message. However, as I said, youth today is not consuming linear TV, and typically the attention span that youth have is kind of reducing on watching content, and that's pretty evident from the way the short video content is coming up. Uh, if you look at it, traditionally most of the brands have been built on the back of TV, large screen, and continue doing so.
Thanks, Jesh. While I was talking about the 900 million is only on linear television today, and it doesn't count the numbers that you have on streaming. Samir, over to you. You represent a digital native brand. How has TV helped Policy Bazaar and other digital native companies or brands like yours in achieving rapid scale in India?
Thanks, Amrita. So apart from representing a digital brand, I also represent a category that's heavily underpenetrated. And since the last few years, we've been investing in growing and expanding the category. And to be able to do that, one medium that's for sure need to be prioritized is television. You can't do a category building job of this scale without a medium like television. It is still the single largest reach medium in the country. Number two, I think television has historically been seen, especially by the traditional advertisers, as a long-term brand building medium. We, on the other hand, have seen TV to be a very good performance medium as well, that apart from giving long-term brand building benefits, also helps you get a lot of immediate returns and ROI on your marketing spend. To give you one example, every time we advertise on television, a few days after our campaigns are over, we get access to the spot data of television. We can actually plot the spot data of television along with our website visits and figure out what channels are performing for us, what time bands are performing for us, what genres are performing for us. And this apart from looking at the overall efficacy of the media plan also. So we've seen television to be humongously helpful in the category expansion job that we've set out to achieve, but also helping us get extremely good ROI on our media spend as well.
Thank you. It's quite interesting the way you put it across. And it's essentially giving attribution to television for your performance. Archana, you've managed diverse categories of advertisers all across your, the span of your career. Can you share your experience of power of TV in building brands?
So, we were discussing this earlier. I've been hearing for the last 15 years that TV is dying. It's 15 years later and TV is still here. So I don't think TV is going to die or whatever. So, as Samir was mentioning, and even as Jayesh was mentioning, that the fact that today television, if you want reach for any product launch or a new campaign, then that's the first medium you go to, because the kind of reach it can generate and the quick reach it can generate very quickly, like within a couple of days, you will be able to actually reach 70-80% of the audience at OnePlus, for example. So that is something which today no other medium can give you. One. Second, small anecdote in terms of why television is so important. See, both TV and digital go hand in hand, right? However, just when we want to increase our upper funnel to drive performance marketing, I've had the performance team coming and telling me, please do television, because that's what creates the largeness for the brand. That's what creates and gives them a blip in terms of the search volumes, in terms of lowering their cost per acquisitions, lowering, getting more acquisitions and quality acquisitions, right? So for me, television, be it, any brand, a brand like Airtel, or even my previous, brands like the PNG brands, television has always been very, very critical. Obviously, it changes in terms of the way you use television for each of your brands, because a mass brand will have a slightly different mix in terms of the way you choose the kind of channels. And when you talk about slightly premium products, again, we change the kind of mix. So there will be certain things we will take and we will not take. But for me, television is something which drives large reach at low costs and gets a lot of loyal consumers, right? So that is very critical. And the other piece which is very important is that, today the consumer has so many choices, right, on OTT. Sometimes they get, they spend, you hear these stories of saying, I have spent 30 minutes trying to figure out what to watch. But on television, you don't have that problem. You just switch it on, there's something on, and you'll just sit and watch, I was traveling recently, and someone with me said, once we went, I go back and I switch on the TV, and for some movie was going on, and I was sitting and watching it. And I was like, why? It was like, I didn't have to waste my energy figuring out what I wanted to watch. This was on. I watched, it was a good movie, 30, 40, 45 minutes, 1 hour I watched, and then I slept. So so that's where the power comes. You keep hearing about cord cutters, but the fact is, there are these households which have this both things of saying, I'm going to watch television, I have linear TV, and I have digital. And a lot of times the digital content is a lot, if you're not behind a paywall, then it is only about catch up, right? So it's actually the TV content that you want to go back and watch because you missed the episode. That's what you do. It's not that, so a lot of the consumers who are AVOD or not behind paywalls are actually doing a lot of catch up content which is available on television. So that's what shows you power of television.
It's interesting that you speak about your personal experience and the power of television to bring back audiences day after day. The content on television is designed to bring back consumers or the audiences every single day. And it's habit forming, correct? Charu, it's the same question. You had an illustrious career, and most part of your career you've been building brands in the building construction category. I'm very keen to understand, how is television helping you to reach out to your target audience?
Yeah, so hi, good afternoon everyone. So as all of my co-participants have already dwelled on the fact how TV undisputedly helps give us scale and reach, so I'll try and stick to a specific category that I've been handling over like more than a decade now, the building materials category, a category which up till a couple of decades ago was more of a commodity-driven industry, a category which is now dwelt by national, domestic, established domestic players and a lot of international players, a category which today does not follow a generic code of communication but wants to build brands, a category which is talking to the well-traveled, well-read consumer who goes all over the world and wants to kind of get those brands in his house, in his bath space. So I'm talking about bath space industry, a space which was ignored a couple of decades back, and today is probably a space which holds maximum flaunt value in your house. If there's a guest coming over, then the first thing that you want to look at is that your bathroom is well prepared and well decked to receive the guests. So that's how the brand has evolved. So I'll be specific to the brand that I handle, Hindware, the iconic bath brand that is built over decades. And I must say that TV has been the backbone of building the brand to where it is today. We've all grown up seeing Hindware brand, we all relate to it. And the kind of evolution that the brand has seen has largely been because of TV, which gives almost all the brands an opportunity to do that kind of a storytelling that's so very important for building a brand in the long run. The kind of narrative, the kind of communication that you want to put across to the consumer to build the brand in the long run. So all that obviously TV has been a part of the journey all through. One more thing that I would want to touch upon is the kind of trust and the credibility that the TV medium brings when there is a brand in the making. While high on engagement campaigns are run very effectively on digital media, but then initial brand awareness, brand building, equity building is something that undisputedly TV gives to the brand. One more thing that I would like to touch upon is that bath is more of a discretionary product. It's not an impulse product. So it requires that kind of a long-term brand building. If I see an ad today, I'll probably not think of renovating my household or a bathroom tomorrow. I'll probably do it when I will go ahead with the refurbishing. And that's when probably I need to remember that brand, and it needs to be there in my consideration set when I'm in that purchase journey. So TV, again, as a long-term media partner, helps give that kind of a platform. Apart from that, we also very, very strong in our regional markets, and regional affinity for TV again still rules. So that's again one place where TV kind of tops the charts when we talk about media mix in this kind of an industry.
Thank you. I mean, it's amazing to hear from a category of building material endorsing television the way Charu just spoke and gave examples on. My next question is on consumers' mental availability in a cluttered media environment today. Preeti, you have a prolific career. You have handled a multitude of brands. I would like you to come in on this. Linear television's singular role is to provide entertainment to the consumers. We make content, we put it up, we don't expect them to do anything else, we just want them to come and viewers to watch our shows, right? Versus mobile devices which are clearly goal-oriented, like making calls, sending messages, and buying products online, besides consuming entertainment. In that context, what is your view on the power of collective audiences on television in driving mental availability or attention for brands? What advantages, in your opinion, does it provide to advertising on television? Long question, but a simple one.
Thank you, and hello everyone. I think a lot of the answers sat in what they all spoke, actually, right? Because each of the brand custodian here is talking about how television has given them the returns, linear television specifically. Interestingly, I think there have been enough studies on the screen size globally, and there are players in the market who are talking about attention deficit versus attention planning now, right? So there is a whole matrix shift that's happening in that space. Where do you get more attention in a media buy or a media plan? Is it the large format TV size, or is it your handsets? I think they will coexist. They both will complement each other and bring the value. But TV will bring in a value which is far more intense and long-term vis-a-vis a handset. This is true from a brand perspective and the impact of it. But let's look at the consumer side, because I always will go with the consumer first. An 18, 19-year-old today is so handset addicted, right? They're watching the entire OTT series, Yevo, everything on their handset. The reason is not out of choice. The reason is they don't have another TV in the house for them, right? Because the parents are hogging it, or the grandparents are hogging it in a joint family. So the transition of, or the evolution of linear TV is also subject to how the impact will happen on the consumer. The 19-year-old today might be addicted to this, but the minute he has access, he or she has an access to a large format TV, I think the consumption pattern also will change, and hence the brand impact. So I'm coming to the brand impact from that context also. The 19-year-old today will become a 35-year-old, will want the luxury, bathroom will change what the parents have done because that's too Purana style, right? So obviously that's where the TV playing impact comes in the long-term basis. At the same time, I have an 9-year-old now who has never watched TV in the linear TV format, but a cricket he will watch. And he know all the ads by heart. He know last season ads, IPL, the earlier season ads, and last season he was saying, "Arey, wo ad nahi aaya wapas. Mama, can you bring the ad back?" So that's how powerful the impact of linear television is. And I somewhere feel in the long run, the marketing community together, we are not going to worry about this as a question. What we're going to worry about is how do we reach out to the consumer in a continuum, immaterial of the formats.
Thank you. And I will definitely pass on the message to our sports colleagues to bring in all the brands that was there last year. And Archana, what's your take on this?
Just echoing something what Preeti said, I think viewers are more tolerant about TV ads than of digital, right? On digital, they are just waiting for that 5-second skip or that's the first thing in my mind, right? So they're more tolerant, right? And yes, you do channel surfing and all, but you still catch a lot of ads. And that's where there's that visibility. And there's some research which said nearly 9 out of 10 people, watch TV collectively, right? And when you're watching collectively, be it sports, be it entertainment, whatever, there's conversations which happen, right? And those conversations obviously, and those conversations then move on to social saying, oh, did you see this ad? And then they'll make those memes and then, but the fact is that's where they've seen it, right? Because if you're watching something on the mobile, you're not going to go out of the screen, out of that environment to go and post something on social. But if you're watching it on television, that means you're engaged, that you're able to think of something to post, right? I mean, you have lots of stuff, especially when, sports is on. There's so much chatter and conversations which happen on Twitter, on Facebook, on Insta, people are just posting, right? So that means they're engaged, they know what's happening, and they're involved, right? So in my mind, these conversations are what leads to this engagement. The other thing is that, attention spans are becoming smaller and smaller. But when you're watching it collectively, it's a collective attention span in a way, in a manner of speaking, right? Again, I don't have data to say it, but there are some things that you believe from a gut standpoint, right? Because media is a mix of art and science. There's a bit of numbers, but there's a lot of also what you believe, it's there, and then you wait for the data to come about in some time, right? So I think there is huge benefit on collective viewing. Think about, sports, right? If you look at sports, people watch, you have in pubs, screening of sports, right? Now that's collective viewing. And people are cheering, irrespective of which team, people are all cheering together, right? Similarly, when there are these impact shows, like, there's non-fiction shows, like, maybe a dance show or a singing show, I know people who are like, I'm following this person, and they get very upset and disappointed, and there are in the family also, there are people who have taken sides of one
person. They pelt stones at our offices.
Huh?
If we eliminate somebody, we've gone through that.
Yeah, so if you think about, and be it any show, if you're following somebody, that means there is a following which happens. So be it in entertainment with non-fiction or sports, people follow and they have a point of view and there is discussion. I remember, way back, we used to, the Monday morning used to be about the weekend episodes of certain impact shows of what happened and what did this person do, what did that person do, how did this person perform, right? And I'm sure that still happens.
Yeah.
So for me, so even if it's either you're watching it collectively or then you're discussing it collectively at a different point of time. But both of them drive engagement.
Yeah, I keep joking about this, that no marketeer is actually interested in me. Maybe I'm on the other side of my 40s, that everyone is targeting a 15 to 40, and even on digital, I don't see any ads. I don't think anybody's interested in me. So, coming back to you, Charu, here is my question. In a recent KPMG report, it was called out that there are about 10 million connected TV homes in India. 10 million. There are multiple numbers floating. I'm referring to the KPMG report. High definition TV homes itself is many, many times this number, with significant time spent by consumers. And this universe continues to grow rapidly. If you were to look at the last 5 years' journey, it has only doubled. How can we ensure brands fully exploit the potential of HD viewership in India?
So before I go ahead with this, one thing that I would want to kind of mention and accept is that over the last couple of years, whatever panel discussions, interactions I've been a part of, we've all been always talking how digital is growing, you know, with all the digital frenzy around us. And I'm happy to be a part of a platform where we took today talking about linear television and the merits associated with it. And yes, I've gone through that report, and a very similar report from E&Y also kind of echoes the same data points. While there is a lot of hype around the connected TV, and it continues to grow as we speak, however, a reach of 10 million households is probably just a minuscule, and probably accounts for less than 5% of the TV universe. So more so, it's about the scale, which is a challenge, probably because of the infrastructural issues. It still remains a concern, and yeah, there is a lot of conversation around it, and if we were to see some more data points about, so smart TVs today are about 90% of the shipments of total TVs that are being ordered, but we also have to see what is the kind of conversion that's happening to connected TV. It's probably 7%, which accounts for again another 12 to 13, a total put together of 12 to 13 million households as per TRI. So when I talk about HD television, again, gives us manifold reach, about 3 to 4 times. And when I'm talking about a premium, mass premium to a premium household today, it's probably giving me more reach with smaller budgets. So cost is another factor which plays a very important role, whereas the CPVs for connected TV again are going to be quite high. So as a marketeer, I mean, if you're balancing, optimizing budgets, then you need to see if you want to probably follow a mixed model approach there. Apart from that, today we are also talking about viewing experience, which matters a lot, and I think somebody spoke about it when you're talking about, yeah, Archana spoke about it, when you're talking about sports for that matter, live sports for that matter. You want to have that viewing experience, and most of the households still prefer to watch it on linear TV. And HD definitely becomes a better choice for them, again, because of internet issues. Most of your connectivity, the kind of connectivity that you want for an uninterrupted flow, primarily is a metro phenomena today also in India.
Thank you. So, Samir, what's your view on this? On the affluent audiences on linear television, which we define as the high definition homes?
Sure. I think in the last 1 year, connected TV has become a very hot topic. There have been a lot of events where people talk about why connected TVs, and fair disclosure, I'm doing another event next week where the topic is connected TVs, so the narrative might be slightly different there. But anyway, I'll be very fair in and then very open about what I believe the debate should be. I don't think the debate should be connected TVs versus linear TV. It is not a binary, it's not either or. Connected TV is being pitched as a platform where you can get the advantages of television, linear television, of the big screen, and you can also get premium audiences. I'll tell you what I believe. If you're a small digital-only advertiser, digital-only brand, maybe that debate has some merit. But if you're a medium or a large-scale advertiser, you do want a certain amount of scale. And Amrita, as you rightly pointed out, HD itself is far bigger than the available audiences of connected TV. So as a bigger advertiser who would advertise very, very consistently, we've been, to be very transparent, have been doing connected TVs very, very consistently since the last 1.5 years. Even before this debate became a very hot topic. But we would start off deploying our media monies on television first. We would, to achieve scale, first start deploying monies on standard definition. Then to also get a lot of premium audiences into the mix, we would also then start deploying monies on high definition. Unfortunately, the supply of high definition in terms of genres is relatively restricted right now. You only have high definition channels in a fair amount on movies, on GEC, and sports is an on and off affair. And you have maybe 1 or 2 news channels that are high definition. So maybe I see the supply also increasing in the time coming forward. But even in the current situation, I think if you want to achieve scale even within the premium audiences, high definition is where you should start deploying your monies first as an advertiser. And then maybe try and introduce connected TV into the mix. So I don't see connected TV as a competing medium. I see it as a replacement of maybe a few non-performing channels in the original media mix. So yeah, to achieve scale, I think high definition is the way to go, and it can be supplemented with connected TVs if you still have monies left over to deploy.
Thank you. Thanks, Samir. Preeti, my next question is for you. India is, in fact, many Indias. There are so many languages and dialects spoken here, even within a state. Given that, using the right communication is more important than having the right media mix at times, how do you ensure that you customize your brand's communication in each market, keeping in mind the cultural nuances of that region?
I guess, I'm from south of India, so I've been constantly rigged in my North Indian married household, saying, "Kitte kale kale heroes hai tumhare yahan," and all that. And I'm now having the last laugh, saying, "Bollywood ka hai?" tell me which movies are you watching? But from a content and a protagonist and a relevancy perspective, I think maybe 20 years back, I remember when we used to do planning for large FMCGs, they used to say 4 languages, and we used to say, "Nahi, 6 to chahiye." Then Marathi and Bengali got added, apart from the South languages. Tamil chala do Telugu mein, ya Telugu chala do Kerala mein, ya Hindi chala do, ya English chala do. English used to be one. I mean, like, it just didn't work for them, right? I think today brands have understood that, and from a planning science, we know that there is a delta because of the language and the local profinity. Brands like Parle Agro, they have multiple celebrities today. I think Kalyan Jewellers from the jewelry business. Parle Agro have been doing it for so many years.
Allu Arjun being one.
Yeah, they have Allu Arjun, they have each state-wise different celebrities. North, they have different celebrities. I think the brand comms in each of these markets also different. Increasingly, we are seeing more and more localized cuts, as I would say. And I think today, for example, I always keep saying this, the TV stars, and we spoke about it, the TV stars have more Instagram followers than the movie stars, so many of them. The reason being is that their local popularity is so high. They want to know what's happening in their life, what are they doing. It's beyond the content that we are watching. So somewhere the brands have started transforming. I wouldn't say it's uniform. There's a long way to go, because in the budget constraint and the marketing mix, okay, ye 2 language hata do, ye mera market priority nahi hai. If you're advertising in a market that has a strong language well, you should only do that language. Do not cut corners. I think that's where the future is all about.
Okay. Jayesh, my next question is about television's power, linear and beyond. The impact of influencers, Preeti just touched upon it, doesn't depend upon where they're born. Today on social media, TV artists or characters have great fan following. What's your take and experience of leveraging the power of these influencers on linear and beyond?
I'm sure most of us have heard about the dancing professor, Ranu Mondal, and this morning the interesting meme that Shark Tank and Tarak Mehta had. I don't know if you guys have seen it. Yeah. So I think influencers are currently getting into shaping the current affairs in a big way. What happens is, because there's a familiarity with the television celebrities, the acceptability for them and their messaging is far better accepted by the viewers. I think the key advantage they bring to is their household names. People kind of relate and connect with them. You know, for example, there was a point in time when there were shows which had very strong protagonists like Hina. You also have Imli. Anupama currently is like a significantly big name. And the sheer fact that today they are available in the social space and are available as influencers, it definitely helps. However, because the platform is changing from a television to social media, I think they have to be sensitive to the fact that they will be equated and compared with the regular influencers as well, who are pretty much the platform natives in a way.
Thank you. Well, I have a lot more questions that I had put together, but due to paucity of time, let me sum it up. 900 million people, that is the power of television, that's the reach of television today. And if you look at the MAU versus DAU, close to 60% of daily average users, you know, the old line, neighbors envy, owners pride, right? That's the power of TV. And it is also the completed view that an advertiser gets on television. And it is designed to be bringing viewers day after day with shows that are serialized, right? And the power of the story and the characters, it goes beyond the linear platform and onto the digital platforms as well today. Thank you. Thanks, everybody, and I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation.
A big thank you to all of you for putting up that discussion. And I think we have a room for taking a couple of questions if there are any. So if you have a question, you may please raise your hand, introduce yourself, and ask the question to our panelists here. Do we have a question coming in? All right, I think we do not have a question at the moment, but thank you so much again for sharing your rich experiences and learnings over the year. And TV truly is a powerful medium today for advertising and the spends that happen in that segment. I would now request our session chair, our moderator, Ms. Amruta, to kindly felicitate all of our esteemed panelists with our token of appreciation. May we please bring the mementos on stage, please. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, a big hand for everyone who's on stage. The first panel discussion, and we have already started on a very powerful note. Thank you so much,